What's up guys, your boy Boss Mac back to gaming.com, and for today's video we'll be taking a look at our first NAS from Asustor, the DriveStor AS1102T. This is our first entry-level network storage device, so I wanted to tackle some basic things about NAS that we normally skip in our previous NAS reviews. In this video, we'll briefly discuss when you'd want to go to a NAS versus an external hard drive, some common applications, and of course, some use cases. So let's start off with the subject at hand. What is a NAS? NAS or NAS stands for Network Attached Storage. And much like a USB drive, at the most basic, it simply stores files. But what separates a NAS from direct attached storage like USB drives is that it is a self-enclosed appliance, capable of operating on its own. And if you've ever heard of the term server, a NAS is the most direct definition of a file server. But we've evolved past the years of NAS only doing one thing. Today, even the most basic NAS like the Asustor DriveStor AS1102T is capable of running various applications internally, serving as a server for your multimedia library or what you can call your own personal Netflix at home using videos you have, or for more advanced tasks like home lab or development. But at the very core of this functionality is storage. So when do you start using a network attached storage versus USB or other direct attached storage solution? And to be quite honest, there is no perfect answer. All of us have different needs, but what separates NAS from other storage options is having the option for redundancy. How many times have you had a hard drive break and suddenly it started becoming unreadable? For really important files, it can be heartbreaking to have this happen to you. But with network attached storage, any product that at least have two drive bays or even more can essentially offer drive redundancy. This means that in the case of the DriveStor 2, if you set it up with drive mirroring, if one of the drives fail, your data is still intact on the other one, and you can grab another drive to restore the NAS to a secure state. Of course, there's also performance, which is a feature here, but RAID arrays are a big topic, so I'll put a link down in the description and a great resource for understanding RAID and redundancy. And I want to end this by saying that RAID is not backup, and you still need to exercise some form of backup at another device or even the cloud, preferably from a trusted name. Which leads us to our product at hand, the Asustor NAS. So, who is Asustor? Well, as the name suggests, they are indeed related to Asus, but don't expect any top gaming or ROG NAS soon as they operate completely independent of each other. What you need to know is that Asustor has been around since 2011. Over the decade that they have been in existence, they've managed to make a decent name for themselves in the network storage space, not just for consumer, but for enterprise as well. The company options for basic home use such as our DriveStor 2-bay drive here, all the way to highly scalable prosumer and business solutions, including some of their new all-flash solutions for power users. Asus Network Attached Storage offer expanded functionality aside from just pure storage by offering in-house applications as well as support for third-party ones. Aside from shared storage, you can use your NAS as a multimedia server, serving your videos via various applications to say any devices on your network, and with built-in transcoding, even an aging mobile phone could watch your high-definition videos. Asustor offers this functionality by multiple application partners, namely the popular Plex server, as well as MB or Jellyfin. You also have an internal gallery web app service for managing and viewing photos, and so much more. For more advanced user, Asustor supports running Python, Apache, PHP, etc. for development, but for home labbers, you'll definitely find support for Docker, Pi-hole, and so much more, highly useful. And I want to highlight Asustor's NVR functionality, where it can serve as the central hub for your IP cameras. The Asustor DriveStor 2 AS1102T and the rest of the Asustor consumer NAS options come with 4 free camera channel licenses, and users can purchase up to 12 channels for their surveillance center. And again, if you're a basic home user or even an advanced home lab geek, Asustor app offerings out of the box is quite impressive. And a lot of these apps have mobile counterparts that allow you to control over the tasks straight from your mobile phone. With that out of the way, we can now take a closer look at the Asustor DriveStor 2 NAS. The DriveStor 2 series currently has a 2-bay and a 4-bay option available. The one we have is the 2-bay or 2-drive option. Both DriveStor 2 NAS are powered by a 1.4 GHz quad-core Realtek RTD1296 CPU, complemented by 1 GB of memory. Unfortunately, there is no option to expand memory, but if this is your first NAS and you're not jamming it with applications running in the background, you probably won't notice it. The housing for the DriveStor 2 family is a familiar design, and Asus has been using this pattern in the routers, optical drives, and more for a while now. Asustor's DriveStor 2 are now part of that small group, and if you run a router that uses the same housing, they'd fit in quite nicely together. The Asustor DriveStor 2 AS1102T has a small footprint, allowing to fit easily in tighter spaces, even smaller desks. The overall body is understated, and aside from the front, the rest of the body is in plain black. Over at the back, we have some I/O in the form of a single USB port, 2.5 gigabit Ethernet jack, and the DC input jack. The power button is at the top, and this is the only button found on this NAS. But before powering on, let's install our drive. Removing the two screws allows half of the housing to slide off, revealing the drive base. Asustor uses two thumb screws to secure the case as well as the drives in place, so no need for a screwdriver to get this part done. You can install one or two drives to get started. For 2-bay drives, it's highly recommended to run in RAID 1, where both drives are mirrored. If one drive fails, the other drive should still hold your files. The other option is RAID 0, which swipes data across both drives, offering a significant boost in performance, especially when used with SSDs. But here's the important thing to keep in mind. The 2.5 gigabit connection gives us potentially up to 290 megabytes of transfer speed, meaning we're already capped by the line speed. So doing RAID 0 provides only a slight boost in performance. So I highly recommend against it in 2-bay setups. Still, 2.5 gigabit Ethernet is still faster than 1 gigabit, potentially giving us twice as fast transfers on capable networks. Here are the results from our performance benchmarks with RAID 0 and RAID 1 with both our test drives provided by Seagate with the IronWolf 4TB drives as well as a pair of SATA SSDs. As mentioned, there's no dramatic jump in performance going from HDD to SSD or even RAID 1 to RAID 0. Of course, you will get some write benefits with RAID 0, but at the end of the day, you're better off focusing on the security part of your installation if this is your only NAS and is your main storage for the network. I'd like to thank Seagate for supporting the IronWolf NAS drives we use for testing in this review of the Asustor DriveStor 2, which reminds me of a question from my friend Mike, who asked about how big the capacity of his first NAS would be. So I ran through some numbers. Basically, my personal philosophy is to go by your annual storage needs. In his case, he generated 500 gigabytes monthly, which is roughly 6 terabytes annual if he maintains his space, which means he'll burn through a 6 terabyte disk in a year. So in this case, I would recommend getting a pair of 8 terabyte drives if he'll be running the AS1102T. But if he goes for the AS114T 4-bay drive option, he can opt for getting a 4x4 terabyte setup or an upgrade along the way, maybe a 6 terabyte times 4 or larger. In your case, you can approximate the NAS capacity you can start with by knowing how big your annual need should be based on what you mostly do. For photographers, this should be around what your shoot size is and how many projects you have booked and so on and so forth. Of that said, the Asustor DriveStor 2 NAS is practically a set it and forget it solution if all you're after is storage. It's a good starting point with a good array of applications built in and a rich library waiting for you to explore. Performance takes a backseat with the 2-bay option with ease of use the central goal here. Anyone looking to jump from a maximum 16 terabyte external hard drive can go straight to a 16 terabyte NAS plus RAID 1 with redundancy, giving you extra peace of mind and if you need a secure storage solution. Given the position of the product, I can excuse the 1GB of RAM, and though Asustor's ADM environment is quite light, those looking to utilize this NAS to the maximum may start feeling the bite of that limited capacity when running app services together with encoding tasks. Ultimately, the Asustor DriveStor 2 AS1102T competes head-to-head with the other 2-bay options in the market right now. At 11,495 pesos, the Asustor DriveStor 2 2-bay NAS is an easy entry in the world of network-attached storage, letting you focus more on the drives you're going to be actually using. Once again, thanks to Seagate for providing the drives we use for this review. Asustor products are now officially available in the Philippines. Talk to your favorite dealers for pricing and availability, or check out your favorite online stores at Shopee or Lazada. Take advantage of their holiday promo going on right now and get the Asustor DriveStor 2 AS1102T for only 10,495 pesos, as well as other participating models. All Asustor products come with 3-year warranty. Once again, this has been your boy Boss Mac at BackToGaming.com. If you want to see more videos like this one, don't forget to like the video, comment the video, and subscribe. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace. And a Happy New Year. Thank you everyone for a wonderful year, and thank you Asustor. It's been nice finally working with you. So that's the cap for the year. Finally. Peace out.